Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to the 12 Creations of Christmas. This is day 2. We're going to be heading on to the ice theme for this episode. Once again, Mega Hack is not working at the moment with my current antivirus. So I don't have the snow, I don't have any sort of hacks. I'm pressing tab as hard as I can, but we're on vanilla Geometry Dash working on this level once again. Yesterday, we made the first addition to this level, 12cc. That's what it's named for now. Got to think of an actual name for it in this series, but we went with the fire theme. Lots of animated fire objects. Off camera, I made a low detail mode, which basically selected all of the fire objects, apart from the ones on the spikes, and put them on low detail. It doesn't look bad, but obviously the full detail is way more original. I'm super happy with it. Obviously, I'm gonna make like a transition and stuff onto the screen, but we'll figure that out soon enough. We got to transition into an ice themed part right here. Let me see what I can do without the white screen flash, because obviously that's quite a lame way to do things. Set the background to a blue version of its original self, and we got to think about the other color channels. Okay, so a problem is 16 pulses to a light orange. So I'm wondering if I could just make that gray. Nice. Okay, that should work. Not quite sure how this is going to work, so this might end up being a time lapse, but essentially I need to move these onto the screen. I guess I could do a 2-second back in out movement on them, but this would require it to be offset first, negative the blocks that I'm moving it. So it'll be like bam, but how is that going to work? Build helper them, maybe? What if I made these triangles black and then gave them a group holding forever to white? Let me see about this. That's pretty smooth, honestly. First, I think I'm gonna layer some blending objects on top of these with glow around the outside. Black blending for now. And we need to give these unique groups. So this is 67.1 with a little bit of hold and a slight fade out as well. There we go. We need black blocks on T2 to fade in. Perfect, actually. Okay, so my idea for this part is that every single block placement can be super long to make it feel like you're sliding. We could probably add a particle effect to make it look like the icon is scraping off the ground. Black blending, base, and detail. Then it needs the group 74. Gonna lock that to the x-axis right here for the foreseeable future. Also needs to be on the y. Kind of forgot about that. Oh, perfect. I nailed it. Gonna make a pulse trigger right here. It's just gonna pulse to light blue. And hopefully you can see where I'm going with it. I think it's gonna work. I just need a lot of polishing for it. Like, how is it gonna work if I drop it down a staircase? Why am I doing this to myself? Instead of a jump here, I'm gonna put a purple pad just so you don't have to make a blind jump, because that's pretty far to go. I'm probably gonna add to the trail on a new editor layer just in case this goes wrong. A couple of copy-pasted versions of the particle on top of itself. So my plan is this transition is kept to light blue blocks. Then there's a segue with a couple of orbs, and then a new design is brought in over here. Probably gonna make a design underneath the objects that just extends all the way down. Black base, object colored detail, and have maybe some black glow covering the sides as well. That's B2. So if we have some B3 glow that's scaled up underneath as well. Okay, let me select filter that out. We can definitely use that for some design, but below, gonna have to be B4 now. I want some scaled up black glow to kind of, yeah, give it some oomph, give it some shading. That looks good, honestly. It looks like Forsaken Neon a little bit. Forgot to group these. I wanted to have an alpha trigger effect with this glow. Just giving them groups row by row, 75 to 77, and then fading them off and on one by one, like 3 blocks between them, and then just copy paste them with their opacity turning off first, then on. Okay, so I'm setting up some pulses right now on a short fade in and fade out. The first set of 3 are dark, and the second set of 3 are going to be lighter. I think to white. That would definitely help with the ice theme. Then I just gotta keep on repeating this alpha effect at the top. Interesting. I don't mind this. This isn't bad. It just needs a little bit more to that pillar, I think. And what better thing to add than invisible objects? This is a great solution because it's not always visible. And I'm gonna mini space these together like that. Okay, this is a pretty decent start. I still want to add more detail because as you get to the block, it's super bland. I wonder if I can just slip this in on white. I guess that could work, but the white is super opaque. Could definitely add some toggle trigger effects or something because it is quite overbearing. Okay, so I've made an extension down the bottom for the 5 spike objects. Leading on from that, we can continue adding groups to the rest of the layers. Just made a very simple toggle trigger effect. As you can see down here, the spikes are just getting turned off one by one. Okay, now it's time to reuse these triangles again. I think it's cool that we managed to transition it from black to white because it's building in what I'm about to put in this part a lot more nicely. It's kind of strange. So what I'm going to do is select all of these move triggers, if I can even find them all. I'm going to put them on a different editor layer, and I'm going to move them back a lot. And I'm going to put the movement as like 7 seconds. Yeah, that's a bit better, but then you can't tell that it's layered, you know? Because it just looks like they're all moving on at the same time. If I made them bounce instead, then we would get a much clearer idea of when each movement started. Yeah, that's a little bit cooler, right? Okay, now I'm going to make overlay designs. Well, I say designs. Effect for the spikes, which are going to reuse the same alpha triggers that we had earlier. 75, 76, 77. For the bigger triangles, I'm going to go T1, and I'm going to use 3 smaller pulsing triangles, and they're just going to like fade on and create a trippy image. They're supposed to be white. I don't know why they're this player color. Another thing I want to do is take some light blue blending spikes. 102 is a new group that I made at the start of the level, which is half opacity, as you can see right here. I'm going to align this spike to the grid, and I'm going to copy paste it upwards so we get a full shape like this. Then we're going to copy paste it a bit more, flip it upside down, and then we have a peculiar looking structure like this. I'm going to make my own pulses with this, I think. That looks sick to me. I don't know why. Oh, that looks super sick, actually. The only problem is it's like a bajillion objects. So this is going to be a lot of objects. So I've decided to remake the whole thing, just doing the same setup as before. But there's going to be objects on the side, which are not high detail. The rest of objects in between will be. So I can make stars like this. In low detail, they will appear as much smaller objects, but it still looks cool, right? Then we can remake our cool looking objects. These 2 objects are going to be low detail, and then the rest can be high. I'm just going to go around with this object attached with some spikes. Oh, it fits in so well. I love it. I haven't even made a design yet. What am I doing? Like, the inner design isn't done. I'm going to give these stars little groups so they can float around. I mean, these movements are going to be extremely small and slow as well. I don't want to distract from the gameplay. So they just rock back and forth at different times to each other. It's the exact same movement. It's just presented differently because of how these are staggered at the top. Okay, I think I've put them all in now. Let's have a look at how the level is looking. This looks magical. Let's go. There's no background. There's no... Oh my god, there's nothing put in yet, and it still looks sick. Low detail mode. It actually looks kind of nice. I'm enjoying this. I know this sounds crazy, but what if I copy these object pulses and literally just slap them onto the background? Oh god, this transition is so cool, dude. I gotta use it. I always use it, but it chucks the object in random directions off the screen. And when you've got a bunch of stacked objects, it makes it look like a particle effect. It's so sick. Now, this isn't actually in the GD trigger selection. I always search up a level called Secret Trigger. You know how it goes if you've watched the channel before. Let me test right now. If I put a bunch of gray objects right there, and then have this object with white blending and regular white on the detail, yeah, I can just have a plus like that, and I can scale this down and rotate it slightly and use the groups that we had earlier. So that is sometimes visible. Yes, dude, okay. I can kind of like cluster these, I suppose. I'm basically using the GD assets in a different way. Gotta make sure this looks good in normal mode, though. It does. I think it looks sick. Okay, background idea. What I want to do is scale up some black glow and rotate it around in a circle like so. We'll make this piece of glow the center point on 106. The other pieces can be 107, and this all needs a moving group 108. 108 is going to lock to the x-axis right when the screen turns blue, which is over here. Okay, perfect. It moves right into place, and what I'm going to do is rotate it around the center point, obviously, and then there's going to be another copy which is scaled down to about 1.75. This can be on group 75, and it needs a new rotation group which is 109. So we just copy this rotation and we decrease the rotation to 540, which is halfway between 1 and 2 rotations around 360. We're going to preemptively make 2 more of these rotations, which are going to be for 110, which is going to move 360 degrees, and then 111, which is going to move 180. In fact, I've changed my mind. I want all of this to be the light blue and set the center to invisible. So we should have 4 glowy rings that kind of shoot in towards the middle. If you look at these, the way they pulse. Hey, this isn't looking too bad, you know? Trying to make some gameplay for the second part. Just gonna have 2 purple orbs right there. Want to have a waterfall right here. It's ice. It's not water. Hold on. I want to make a reference to the fact that I said that this part needs a waterfall by adding like a low opacity waterfall in the background, but I'm not sure how that's going to work. We'll make 8 of these. So that is the 8th one right there. And before this part, we can spread the waterfalls out, starting with 112, moving 100 to the right in 5 seconds. 6, go on then. And then the next group moving with an increment of 50. So we're just moving this waterfall out of its place by a couple of extra blocks each time. I've also taken off the 7 opacity and given it 120, which I'm gonna make, and we'll give it 30%. I'll tell you what, it gives it a slight bit more depth. I think that's cool. I wonder if this object will go on the orbs if I put it on blue blending and just space it on the edge of every single side. How does this look? It's like an animated ring effect. Yeah, we could vary that with blue and white. So above that, I want to make a blue screen, which is going to be on a new group that fades on at the same time the level turns blue. I'll show you how this part looks with low detail mode enabled. I think it still looks just as sick. It's definitely less heavy on the computer as well, so that's a big win for me. Just thinking about it, I'm not too huge on the background pulses that I made, so I'm going to change them to copy itself with a bit more brightness instead. Basically, when the background was going to white, all of the blending details were kind of disappearing on themselves, let's just say. So here is the second part of the 12 Creations of Christmas completely done. My goodness, this level is shaping up to be something pretty special. I'm really proud of what I've done so far with the choice of the fire object, and also some of the object choices here with the jagged spikes. I always thought they looked a bit wintry. Pulsing circles that go around the pads and the orbs and stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching the second day of the 12 Creations of Christmas. Leave a like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow. Have a good day.